The first time I realized someone was trying to turn my wedding into her stage. It was over a group chat message while I stood in the grocery store aisle holding a tiny jar of honey, and I read it twice, then stayed quiet as something cold slid down my spine. My name is Lorelei. I am 28 and I work as a wedding florist, which means I have spent years making other people's days look effortless while quietly swallowing my own stress. I am Moroccan, born to a family that measures love in food, noise, and tradition. My fiancé Wilder is European, raised on calm dinners, tidy schedules, and the kind of weddings that end before midnight. We love each other in a way that makes both worlds feel possible, but we also learned early that mixing those worlds can turn joy into chaos if you let too many hands grab the steering wheel. So we chose a small Western ceremony, cottagecore, wildflowers, soft linens, a little stone venue, with ivy climbing the walls and a garden that smells like rosemary when the sun hits it. The dress code was simple on purpose, casual, comfortable. The kind of wedding where people laugh easily and nobody needs to fight their outfit all day. I still wanted a piece of home though. Not the full Moroccan wedding. Marathon with its endless costume, changes and opinions that land like stones. Just something intimate. A henna night, music, tea, family. The warmth of women circling close and blessing me in the way my mother taught me. That was for my side, my friends, and only Wilder's immediate circle. His mom, his grandmothers, a few people who had been kind to me from the beginning. No big extended crowd. No strangers who would treat my traditions like a themed party. I thought I had contained the stress. Then Tinsley entered the story. Tinsley is Wilder's cousin. Young, pretty in a careful way, always filming little slices of her life, always framing herself as the main character. A couple years ago, she converted to Islam, and I respected that. I did. Faith is personal. I never questioned her sincerity out loud, even when she made it feel like she was auditioning for approval every time she spoke about it. She was invited to the wedding, not the henna night. That boundary was clear. But a week after invitations went out, she texted me as if we were close friends. I am so excited for your big day. I have the perfect outfit. A taqchita. My thumb froze above the screen. A taqchita is not casual. It is layered, heavy, gleaming. It is the kind of dress that arrives with its own gravity. In Moroccan weddings, it makes sense because everyone is extra. Everyone is shining. Everyone is dressed like they are the celebration. But at my small garden ceremony, one taqchita would look like a chandelier brought to a picnic. I stared at her message and tried to breathe like I tell anxious brides to breathe. Slow in, slower out. I typed back carefully. That sounds beautiful, but our wedding is very casual. Would you consider a simple long dress in a solid color? Something modest if that is what you prefer, just not too formal. Her reply came fast. I cannot. As a Muslim woman, I should be able to dress appropriately. I am trying to honor your culture too. That sentence irritated me in a way I did not want to admit. Honor my culture. Like it was a favor. Like she was gifting me something I did not ask for. I wrote, I hear you. Modesty is absolutely fine. Long sleeves, long skirt, whatever you feel comfortable in. I can even help you find something. But the taqchita is formal and the dress code is casual. She left me on red. The next day, Wilder told me Tinsley had called his mother crying, saying I was discriminating against her for being Muslim. My chest tightened, not because I thought I was wrong, but because I knew how quickly that kind of accusation spreads, how it turns people into judges before they even know the facts. Wilder sat with me at our kitchen table while I arranged ranunculus stems into jars for practice. He held one flower between his fingers like it might break. You are not attacking her religion, he said. You are asking for a dress code. That is normal. I nodded, but my mind was already racing because I know what it feels like to be the Moroccan woman in a European room, constantly explaining myself. I did not want anyone to think I was the type of person who polices faith. I also did not want my wedding turned into a battlefield where I had to prove I was good. So I did what I always do when conflict starts circling. I got quiet and I gathered information. First micro twist came from my friend Arden, who is also Moroccan and has the kind of blunt honesty that saves you. Arden called me late at night. Lorelei, I just saw Tinsley's story. My stomach sank. What story? She posted a poll. She asked her followers if it is disrespectful when a bride tells a Muslim guest she cannot dress modestly. She did not use your name, but she said it is a mixed culture wedding and the bride is embarrassed of her own culture. I went still on my couch, phone pressed to my ear, heart beating too loud, embarrassed of my own culture. I thought about my mother's hands stained with henna, about the gold belts tucked in her closet, about how I chose a small ceremony not because I was ashamed, but because I wanted peace. I opened social media and found it. Tinsley's face filled the screen. Eyes wet, voice soft, saying she was heartbroken. She said she was being told she could not dress in a way that aligns with her beliefs. She never said taqchita. She never said casual dress code. She never said she was not invited to the henna night. She told a story that made her the victim and me the villain, and thousands of strangers were applauding her bravery. My hands trembled. I did not comment. I did not message her. I just took screenshots. Every slide, every caption, every reply where she hinted that I was insecure. Silent, methodical. Second micro twist came 2 days later from Wilder's grandmother, Colette, who is sweet in a way that disarms you. She asked me to join her for tea, just us. She held my hands across the table. I saw Tinsley's posts. She said gently, I know you are not cruel, but you must understand she is very stubborn. She already bought the dress. Bought it? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. What dress exactly? Colette hesitated, then pulled out her phone and showed me a photo Tinsley had sent her. A full taqchita laid out like treasure. Rich fabric, heavy embroidery, a belt that looked like armor, and the color made my throat go dry. It was the exact shade I had chosen for my own bridal gown lining. Not white, not cream. cream, a soft pearl blush that looks almost bridal in photos, especially in sunlight. My mouth went numb. Colette watched my face. She said, "She told me she chose it because it will match your aesthetic." Match my aesthetic. I heard it the way you hear a threat disguised as a compliment. I thanked Colette, hugged her, walked to my car, and sat there with both hands on the steering wheel as if holding still would keep me from falling apart. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call Tinsley and tell her she was ridiculous, but I knew that would feed her. So I did the third thing. I made a plan. I called my venue coordinator, Sela, who has managed 100 weddings and speaks in calm sentences that sound like rules. Sela listened while I explained. Casual dress code. One guest insisting on formal cultural attire. Online pressure. The almost bridal color. Sela said, "Do you have it in writing?" I said yes and sent her the messages and screenshots. She responded, "Perfect. Then it is simple. We uphold the dress code. We can offer her an alternative. If she refuses, she does not enter." Just like that. No drama, just policy. I should have felt relieved. But tension has a way of crawling back in when people are determined to win. The following week, my henna night invitations were delivered. I made sure Tinsley was not on the list. That night, my cousin Raina called me, confused. "Lorelai, why is a European girl messaging me asking for the address to your henna night?" My blood ran cold. I said, "What girl?" Raina sent a screenshot. It was Tinsley, politely asking for details, saying she had heard she was welcome and did not want to miss the celebration. I stared at the screenshot until the words blurred. She had lied. To get an invitation she was not given. To wedge herself into a room that was not meant for her. I replied to Raina, "Do not respond. I will handle it." I did not message Tinsley. Not yet. Instead, I called my mother. My mother answered on the first ring. Her voice was warm. Then I told her everything, and her warmth sharpened into something protective. "She thinks she can wear your culture like a costume," my mother said. "And when you say no, she calls you disrespectful. This is not religion, Habibti. This is attention." I swallowed hard. I said, "I do not want to fight." My mother's voice softened. "Then do not fight. Be smarter." Those words landed in me like a door clicking shut. So I sent Tinsley one message, and I kept it sweet. "Hi, Tinsley. I heard there was confusion about the henna night. It is a small private event for my side and immediate family only. The wedding is still casual dress code. If you need modest outfit ideas, I am happy to share suggestions." She responded within minutes. "I am hurt that you are excluding me. I am part of the family, and the tachita is modest. You cannot tell me not to be myself." I stared at her message. My hands were steady now. I typed, "I understand you feel hurt. The dress code is still casual. We are keeping it consistent for everyone." Then I stopped. No arguing, no paragraphs, no pleading, but she did not stop. She sent a photo of herself at a tailor smiling, then another photo of fabric, then a voice note I did not open. Then she wrote, "I will be the only one representing your culture since you are hiding it." That line hit me in the stomach. I wanted to respond with every angry thought in my head. Instead, I forwarded everything to Sela, and Sela replied with one sentence that made my heart beat faster. She just emailed the venue asking if she can arrive early for private photos in the garden. I reread it. Private photos in my wedding garden. My skin went cold because a new thought slid into place, sharp and ugly. She was not just trying to wear the dress. She was trying to stage a moment. And I suddenly needed you to pause with me for one real life second, because this is exactly the part where my hand started shaking and I realized how far she might go. If you are listening right now, hit like, subscribe, and tell me your city, state, or country. All right, now let me take you back. It was 3 days before the wedding when Sela called me and said, "Lorelai, I think you should see what she wrote in her email." She forwarded it. I opened the message on my laptop, heart pounding, and my eyes landed on one sentence that made my breath stop. Tinsley had requested that the photographer capture her entrance first because she planned to do a cultural reveal for the bride and groom. I sat there staring at the screen, my mouth dry, and for the first time I understood the real goal. She did not want to attend my wedding. She wanted to headline it. I closed the laptop and just sat there, listening to the hum of our refrigerator like it was the only steady thing in my life, a cultural reveal. Like I was a child she planned to surprise with a magic trick. Like my heritage was a prop she could pull from a bag, on cue, for applause. Wilder came in from the balcony, sun on his shoulders, and I could tell by the way he looked at me that he already felt something was wrong. "What is it?" he asked. I turned the screen toward him. I watched his eyes move over the words. His jaw tightened in a way I rarely saw. "She emailed the venue," I said quietly. "She wants the photographer to capture her entrance first. She called it a cultural reveal." Wilder blinked like he could not believe the audacity was real. Then he exhaled through his nose, slow, controlled. "She is not doing that," he said. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to lean into his certainty and let it carry me, but my stomach was already full of the dread that comes when you know someone does not need permission to cause chaos. I could picture it too clearly. The garden, the guests turning their heads, Tinsley arriving in a dress that screams attention, and the camera swinging toward her like she is the bride. And I could picture my face in those photos forever. I felt humiliation before it even happened. I whispered, "She is trying to make me look small." Wilder reached for my hand. His palm was warm and mine was cold. "You will not be small," he said. "Not on our day, not ever." His words almost cracked something open in me, almost. But I did not let myself cry yet, because tears feel like surrender when you are about to go to war. I called Sela back. "Sela," I said, keeping my voice steady, "what can we do without creating a scene?" Sela sounded calm, like she had handled worse. "We stick to policy," she said. "Dress code is not a suggestion. It is a condition of attendance. You have proof that you communicated it. We can also control the flow of arrivals, and we can instruct the photographer." I swallowed. Instruct the photographer. It hit me then. Tinsley was not only trying to control how she looked, she was trying to control what the day looked like. I asked Sela, "Can you send a message to the photographer that only the couple entrance is to be captured as a priority?" "Already done," Sela said. "I told them to ignore all requests not coming from from you or Wilder. Relief loosened my chest a little, not much, but enough to breathe. Then Sela added, one more thing. She asked if she could change at the venue. I went still. Change at the venue? I repeated. Yes, Sela said. She said she will arrive in something simple and then change into the Takchita there. My throat tightened. That was not just stubbornness. That was strategy. It meant she knew exactly what she was doing. It meant she knew she would be stopped at the door if she showed up in it. So she planned to sneak it in. I felt my cheeks heat with anger, but my voice stayed flat, like a quiet lake with something sharp under the surface. No, I said. Absolutely not. Sela did not hesitate. Then we will block access to all bridal prep spaces. Only the bride, bridesmaids, and approved staff. I will have names. That word made something in me settle, because lists are power. Policies are power. Paper is power. And I had paper. After I hung up, I opened a folder on my laptop and titled it simply Wedding. Inside it, I saved everything. Every message, every screenshot, every email. I printed the dress code page from our invitation website. I printed Sela's policy statement. I printed the venue rules about unauthorized changing rooms and private photography. I did not feel dramatic while I did it. I felt calm, like my emotions had finally organized themselves into a plan. Wilder watched me for a minute, then said, should I talk to her? I shook my head. If you confront her, I said, she will cry and tell everyone you are controlling her. She wants conflict. She wants a villain. Wilder frowned. So what do we do? I looked up at him. My voice was soft but firm. We give her exactly what she asked for. A spotlight. Just not the one she thinks. He stared at me, confused. Then I added, we do not accuse. We do not yell. We let her walk into her own trap with our proof waiting. That night, the next micro twist arrived in the worst possible place. My phone lit up with a message from one of Wilder's friend's girlfriends, Hadley. She was sweet, shy, never in drama, so when I saw her name, I expected something about seating or food. Instead, she wrote, hey, I feel weird saying this, but Tinsley added me to a group chat called Modest Wedding Guests. She is telling people the bride is banning religious clothing. I do not think that is true, but a few girls are upset. My stomach dropped. She did it again. She twisted the story, widened the audience, and made sure the accusation spread before I could defend myself. I asked Hadley, can you send screenshots? Hadley sent them right away. The group chat was full of Tinsley's messages, all carefully phrased. She never said Takchita. She never said formal. She never said cottagecore casual. She kept repeating words like discrimination, oppression, and silence. She even wrote, I am bringing a traditional garment to honor the bride, and she told me I will embarrass her. My hands were so steady it scared me, because the moment you stop shaking is the moment you become dangerous. I forwarded the screenshots to Wilder. He read them and his face went tight. This is insane, he said. I did not answer. I just kept scrolling. Then I saw it. A message from Tinsley that made my stomach flip. She wrote, if enough of us dress traditionally, she cannot stop all of us. They cannot throw out a group of Muslim women. They will look awful. I stared at that line until my eyes burned. It was not about clothing. It was about leverage. About forcing me into a corner where I either surrender or look cruel. I looked up at Wilder and said quietly, she is recruiting an army. Wilder's voice was low. Tell me what you need. I needed one person on his side who mattered. Someone who could shut this down without it sounding like it came from me. So I called his mother, Noelle. Noelle answered with a tired warmth. She had been trying to stay neutral, I could tell. And neutrality is often just fear of conflict wearing a polite face. I said, Noelle, I need to show you something. And I need you to read it before you respond. I drove to her house and sat at her dining table, the same table where she had once tried to teach me how to bake a European cake without overmixing the batter. She poured tea. Her hands were calm, but her eyes were wary. I slid my folder toward her. The prints were neat, clipped, organized, like evidence, not gossip. I watched her read. At first, her face was blank. Then her eyebrows pulled together. Then her mouth tightened. When she got to the message about if enough of us dress traditionally, she put the paper down and stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. She is doing this, Noelle said softly. I nodded. I did not add emotion to my voice. I did not plead. I did not insult her cousin. I just told the truth. I am not banning modest clothing, I said. I am asking for casual. Long dresses are fine. Headscarves are fine. Any modest Western outfit is fine. I even offered to help her choose one. But she is insisting on a formal Moroccan takchita at a casual wedding. And she is telling people, I am attacking Islam. And now she is trying to coordinate a group to force my hand. Noelle closed her eyes for a moment, like she was swallowing disappointment. Why would she do this, she asked. I could have answered with anger. I could have said because she wants attention, because she cannot stand not being centered, because she is using faith as a shield. Instead, I said one sentence, quiet and devastating, because she wants your approval more than she wants our happiness. Noelle's eyes opened. They were glossy. She whispered, I am so sorry. Then she did something I did not expect. She picked up her phone right there in front of me and called Tinsley on speaker. My pulse jumped. I kept my face calm. This was not my stage. This was Noelle's, Tinsley answered with a bright voice. Hi, Aunt Noelle. Noelle's voice was gentle, but it had steel underneath. Tinsley, I read the messages. I read everything. Lorelai is not banning modest clothing. She is asking for casual. You are causing pain with what you are saying. There was a pause. Then Tinsley's voice shifted instantly, soft and wounded. I cannot believe Lorelai showed you private messages. She is trying to turn you against me. I just want to feel welcome. Noelle did not raise her voice. She did not argue. She asked one small question, the kind that makes liars stumble. Then why did you write that if enough of you dress traditionally, she cannot stop all of you? Silence. It was long enough that I could hear Tinsley breathing. Then she laughed too lightly. I did not mean it like that. It was just frustration. Noelle's tone stayed calm. Then you will stop. You will not coordinate anything. You will follow the dress code, or you will not attend. And you will not speak about Lorelai like she is ashamed of her culture. Do you understand me? Tinsley's voice sharpened. So you are taking her side. Noelle answered, I'm taking the side of truth. The call ended abruptly. Noelle looked at me and whispered. She hung up. I nodded. My throat felt tight, but I did not cry. Not yet. Because deep inside, I knew this would not end with a phone call. People like Tinsley do not surrender. They pivot. And the next morning, my cousin Raina sent me another screenshot. A message from Tinsley to Raina, pretending to be polite, asking again for the henna night address. This time she wrote, I already have my dress and I do not want to waste it. It would mean so much to wear it somewhere. She was trying to find a door I forgot to lock. I stared at the message and felt something settle into place like a final piece of a puzzle. She did not care about faith. She did not care about culture. She cared about wearing that dress in front of an audience. So I made one last quiet move. I texted Sella and I sent her a photo of Tinsley's dress. I wrote, this is what she plans to wear. If she arrives in this, she is not admitted. If she tries to change on site, she is not admitted. Please brief security. Sela replied, understood. We will be kind, firm, and fast. Kind, firm, fast? That was how you win without screaming. And as I stood in my kitchen later that day, trimming stems for my bouquet, I felt the strange calm of someone who has finally stopped, hoping the other person will do the right thing. Now I was simply waiting to see which version of herself Tinsley would bring to my wedding. The morning of the wedding smelled like damp grass and fresh bread from the bakery down the road. I woke up before my alarm, stared at the ceiling, and listened to Wilder's breathing beside me like it was an anchor. My hands were steady when I got out of bed, which felt wrong. Weddings are supposed to make you nervous, but I was not nervous about marrying Wilder. I was nervous about being tested. At the venue, Selah met me near the garden gate with her clipboard and her calm eyes. You look beautiful, she said, and she meant it in a professional way, like she had seen hundreds of brides and still chose kindness. I nodded and whispered, thank you. She leaned in just slightly. Security is briefed. The photographer is briefed. The staff knows who is allowed in the bridal spaces. If anything happens, you will not handle it. You will keep breathing and keep walking. That last part mattered most. Keep walking. Because the thing about people like Tinsley is they want you to stop. They want you frozen. They want your face twisted in a way they can frame and replay. They want a moment that makes you look guilty even when you are not. So I promised myself I would not stop. My bridal suite was small, full of soft light and the smell of eucalyptus. Arden helped pin my veil, and my mother adjusted my necklace with hands that did not tremble, even though I could tell her jaw was tight. You are not a little girl anymore, my mother murmured in Arabic low enough that only I heard. You are a woman choosing her life. Do not let anyone shame you out of your peace. I swallowed, throat thick, and nodded. Outside, guests began arriving. I heard laughter. I heard chairs shift. I heard the string trio warming up, notes floating through the air like they were testing the world. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Hadley. She is here. No punctuation. No extra words. Just that. My pulse thudded once, hard, then settled. Arden saw my face. She asked, is it her? I did not answer with words. I just handed Arden the phone. Arden's eyes flashed. She said, stay, sit. Let them do their job. I sat. My dress pooled around me like soft foam. My bouquet was on the table. Wildflowers and greenery. Nothing heavy, nothing overdone. It looked like me. It looked like what I wanted. A few minutes later, Sella texted me. She arrived in a plain coat. She is carrying a garment bag. Security is speaking with her now. I stared at the message and felt an odd wave of pity, quick and unwanted, because a garment bag is such a clear symbol of intent. It is the quiet admission that she knew exactly what she was doing. Then another message came. She is insisting it is for later. She says she has permission to change. We are saying no. I imagined Tinsley standing at the gate with her practiced face, switching between wounded and righteous, depending on which person was looking at her. I imagined her voice, calm, trembling, as if she were brave. Then I imagined her camera, and that was when the third twist of the day hit me, delivered in a short voice. Note from Sella that Arden played on speaker because my hands were busy holding the edges of my dress to keep it clean. Lorelai, Selah's voice said, she is recording. She has her phone pointed at security, and she is saying out loud that she is being discriminated against. We are staying polite. We are repeating the dress code. We are not escalating. My stomach tightened. Of course she was recording. This was never about attending the wedding. This was about creating content, about capturing a clip she could post with a caption that would pull sympathy like a net. Arden looked at me and said, she thinks she is smart. My mother's eyes narrowed. She said softly, let her talk. Wilder appeared in the doorway of the suite, still in his shirt sleeves, tie loose, hair slightly messy in the way that always made me smile. But he was not smiling. He asked, is she here? I nodded. He took a breath, then said, I want to go out there. I reached for his hand. My voice stayed quiet. If you go, she will use you. She wants you angry. She wants you to look like you are controlling a Muslim woman. Please let your mother handle family. Let Sella handle policy. You handle me. Wilder's eyes softened. He squeezed my fingers. Okay, he whispered. I am here. We stood like that for a moment, foreheads almost touching, and my fear eased just enough to make space for the reason we were here. Then Noelle walked into the suite. She looked pale but composed, like a woman who has decided she will not be manipulated anymore. She said, I spoke to her at the gate. She is refusing to leave. She is demanding you come out and apologize to her. My mouth went dry. Not because I was tempted, because I could see the trap. An apology would be a confession in her world. It would be the clip she needed, the proof she would twist. I said, I will not. Noelle nodded. Good. Then she added, she says she will change in her car and walk in anyway. My mother made a sharp sound in her throat. Arden muttered something under her breath that I will not repeat. Wilder's jaw tightened. Noelle lifted her phone and said, I told her this is your wedding, not her stage. She told me if we stop her, she will post post the video and ruin your day. Ruin your day. I felt something in me go very still, like a candle flame in a room with no wind. I looked at Noelle and said, then we do not stop her loudly. We do it clean. Noelle's eyes flicked to Sella's printed policy packet on the table, the one I had asked Arden to bring in. I slid it toward Noelle and said quietly, you asked me once why she would do this. You already know the answer. She wants your approval. Give her the opposite of that. Noelle read the top page, then nodded once, sharp and final. She turned and walked out. Minutes passed. My heart beat slow and heavy. Then Sella called. Her voice was calm. Lorelei. She returned wearing the tuxedo. She tried to enter through the side gate. Security stopped her. She raised her phone and began speaking loudly. We asked her to lower her voice. She refused. Noelle is here now. I closed my eyes for a second and pictured the garden. Our guests seated, the soft music, the sunlight filtering through leaves. I pictured Tinsley glittering like a falling chandelier. And I pictured myself not reacting. Silla continued. Noelle asked for her phone. Tinsley refused. Noelle then told her she is no longer welcome. Tinsley said she will tell everyone you hate Muslims. Noelle asked one question. My throat tightened. What question? Selah said. Noelle asked. Then why did you tell people the bride is banning religious clothing when you are wearing a Moroccan ceremonial gown that is not religious? Tinsley started yelling. Noelle stayed calm. Then Noelle held up printed screenshots. My breath caught. Noelle held up screenshots in front of the guests. Not as gossip, as proof. Silla's voice remained even. Tinsley tried to grab the papers. Security asked her to step back. She screamed that she is being attacked. Noelle asked her to read her own message out loud. She refused. Then Noelle read it herself, clearly, in front of everyone. My hands went cold. Sella said, people are staring at Tinsley like they finally understand. Noelle said she will not allow anyone to weaponize faith to bully a bride. Tinsley is shaking. She looks humiliated. I should have felt guilty. I tried to reach for guilt the way I usually do when conflict ends, but I could not find it. All I felt was a strange, clean relief. Silla said, security is escorting her away now. She is still filming, but the only thing she is capturing is herself being removed for refusing a dress code and causing a disturbance. I exhaled long and slow. Okay, I whispered. Sila said, give me 5 minutes, then I want you to walk down the aisle. Do not let this touch the rest of your day. After the call ended, Wilder looked at me with something close to awe. My mom said, you did not move good. Arden grinned. Silent revenge, she whispered, like she was proud. I stood and smoothed my dress. My knees felt steady. My throat still burned, but not with panic, with adrenaline. Outside, the music shifted into the song Wilder and I chose, the one that always made me think of late night drives and the feeling of finally being understood. When I stepped into the garden, the first thing I saw was Wilder at the front, eyes locked on mine. His face softened the second we met eyes, like everything else in the world blurred. I walked. I did not look for Tinsley. I did not scan for whispers. I did not let my mind chase what could have been. I kept walking, step by step, toward the man who felt like home. At the front, Wilder took my hands. His fingers were warm and slightly damp. He whispered, you are okay. I whispered back, I am more than okay. The ceremony was simple. Vows spoken with shaking voices. Laughter when Wilder stumbled over a word and I squeezed his hand, telling him with my eyes that he was perfect anyway. Tears from Noelle when she realized her family could still choose decency over drama. When the officiant pronounced us married, Wilder kissed me, and for the first time in weeks I felt my body unclench. At the reception, people danced under string lights, barefoot on the grass. My Moroccan friends hummed along to the music when the DJ slipped in a soft Arabic song as a nod, not a spectacle. My mother hugged me so tightly I could hardly breathe. Noelle approached me with her phone in hand. She said quietly, I want you to see something, but only if you want to. I nodded. Noelle showed me Tinsley's social media post. Tinsley had uploaded her gate video already. She captioned it like she was brave, like she was persecuted, but the comments were not what she expected, because someone, probably Hadley, had posted screenshots in reply. The group chat messages. The line about, if enough of us dress traditionally, she cannot stop all of us. Someone else posted the email where Tinsley asked the photographer to capture her entrance first. Another person wrote that Tinsley was asked to wear casual like everyone else, and she refused. The story flipped in real time. Tinsley's victim narrative collapsed under her own words. Noelle's eyes were glossy. She whispered, I did not raise my children to cheer for bullying. I took a breath. I felt something in my chest loosen, something old and heavy. Later, near the dessert table, I noticed Colette watching me with a small, satisfied smile. She beckoned me closer and said softly, I recognized the tuxedo the moment she put it on. I blinked. What do you mean? Colette leaned in, her voice low. The dress she wore was not even a real tuxedo from Morocco. It was a cheap imitation. She bought it online. She lied to me about the tailor. I know because she asked me for money to pay for it, and I refused. I stared at Colette, shocked. So the entire performance was built on a costume, Colette continued, and she still thought she deserved respect for it. My lips parted. I did not know what to say. Colette patted my hand and said, a woman who borrows a culture as a weapon will always trip on the hem. That night, after everyone left and the lights were dim, Wilder and I sat on the stone steps outside the venue, shoes off, tired in the best way. He rested his head against my shoulder and whispered, she tried to make you feel ashamed? I looked out at the dark garden where I had walked toward him, where I had chosen joy in spite of someone trying to hijack it. I said quietly, I am not ashamed of my culture. I am ashamed of anyone who uses culture like a knife. Wilder kissed my temple. He said, you protected us without becoming her. And I realized that was the real victory. Not that she was removed. Not that her post backfired. But that she never got my rage. She never got my apology. She never got my wedding. She only got the truth, printed in clean black ink, held up in the sunlight for everyone to see.